welcome to Abby's Den. I'm Abby. Now in this video I'm going to expand our skills a little bit. So we're moving on from the lounge pants that we made earlier. It's a very simple pattern, the lounge pants, weren't they? They're elasticated waist, quite loose trouser leg, and nice and comfortable fit, so you can actually, as they are designed for, lounge around in them. In this video I want to expand your skills a little bit more, and rather than have a fully elastic waist, we're going to have half elastic and half straight. So the front part looks like it's a proper full waistband, but you've got that give and ease on the back. So it's a sort of semi-casual pair of trousers. This time I'm going to make them so that there is no fastening to them other than the elastic, and that's the way you need to get into them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the pattern out onto a scrap piece of paper, because I don't tend to make templates because I don't really have paper big enough. But if you've got big enough paper at home, then copy this idea onto your template. I'm going to draw my pattern straight onto fabric. I've got some fabric here. It was inexpensive. I think I paid £1 a metre on the market. You know I like my market deals. So it was a good quality wool that I picked up, £1 a metre, and it's 60 wide, so I should definitely get a good pair of trousers out of there. I've got all my tools ready in my tin. I've got a piece of paper and a pen to draw, and I'm going to show you what to do. So let's get cracking and draw this plan out like that. Okay. Right, there we go. There's my two legs. So I've got my pocket here and I've got the fly there. So I'm going to fold this away for a minute and I'm going to create a pocket. So what I need to do is I'm going to place a pocket inside there like this, and it's going to be sitting inside like that there, and it goes as deep as I want it to. So I'm going to bring it quite deep like that. So make sure I fold myself a decent line, and I'm cutting 2 pockets. So now just unfold that 2 pieces of fabric. Make sure it lines up at the top, lines up on the side like that. Which of any creases, and I'm going to chop 2 of the pieces okay, and then what happens is if I grab one of the legs and one of the pockets, pop that there, that's the pockets, that's the front panel. So what I will do is I will stitch this good sides together like that. And when I've stitched that good sides together, I bring the pocket through like that, so it becomes a mirror image on the other side. Top stitch it. You don't have to top stitch it. I think it'll just give it a nice, clean, secure finish, opening to your pocket. And then replace this fold of fabric over your pocket so that it looks like it was originally before the pocket was there. And then when you sew it all together, you end up with a pocket, and we all like pockets. And I think I'll be able to make the waistband out of that for both the front and the back. So I've got a nice piece spare there. So get rid of that for a moment. Okay, so for the front waistband, this is going to fold over. Make sure it's the right way. That's going to be, I'm going to put a cross on there so I know this is the wrong side. Right, okay, so I've cut the waistbands. The waistbands are about 5 inches, and the front one measures 18 inches. And when that's sewn in, it'll come down to 17. So I need to make sure that the back measures 17 when it's scooched together. And the way to do that is by putting in 16 inches of elastic. There we go. So I've got my pocket, my waistbands and the legs there. So what I'm going to do first is work on the pockets, get those set in, baste them down, and then sew the front to the back. And it's going to look similar to the lounge pants that we did, so that you'll start recognising the pattern and the shapes. So here's the front piece and here is the pocket. I'm going to place the fabric so it's good side down. Place the top of the pocket so it lines up with the top there, and the side lines up, the pocket opening lines up with the opening on the front, and the sides matches up there. And what will happen is, do you remember, we're going to flip this over and complete the shape of the trouser leg so it doesn't look like we've taken any of that gap away. All right, so I'm going to stitch that pocket along there, lay a couple of pins on there just to hold it steady. Right, there we go. So that's sewn. So when I put my hand in there, that's going to be a pocket. Understitch it there. I'm just going to pull and separate as I sew. That's it. And then lock those stitches. Okay, so when you stitch that down, flip that over and bring the pocket over. Match that down and bring this over to there. And bring this over to there. So it looks like the pattern piece should have been like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to French seam this end of the pocket, so the bottom of the pocket. So first I'm going to do is flip it the wrong way round and sew along there, and then I'm going to turn it back the right way around and stitch, showing raw edges showing on the inside and no raw edges showing on the outside. Right then, so that's that sewing line there. This is the centre front and this is the pocket. So that's the pocket that goes at the side here. And what I'm going to do is grab the back piece, make sure I've got the right side, so that the centre back is there, centre front is there, and that's the centre line there. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to attach the front to the back. Now, why did we separate this? 2 reasons. You separate it if you want to add a pocket or any features like that, but mostly you separate it because you add some shape to that piece and you add some shape to that piece to go around the curve of the side of your leg. I'm going to just match up the lines again for this fabric. Right, so I've got all the pins in there, that's fine, and I've made sure that all the lines match up, and I'll double check as I sew down there. So I'm going to give a quick seam down there. Okay, so just to overlock the edge. If you want to give it a more jeansy type feel, you can do a flat fell seam. So what a flat fell seam is, it's you've made the seam flat and you've felled it, which means you've sewn it. So you add a stitch. Now because I've got the pocket on the front here, what I need to do is make sure that when I press the seam so that the overlock goes on the back, and then I can add a stitch on that side. But what I will do is at the end of this pocket here, I don't want that too much stress on that pocket. So I'm going to sew a bar tack, and a bar tack is just a zigzag with no stitch length. So you put the stitch length on 0 and just do a zigzag and just do about 8 stitches going left and right along there. Right, so I've done that. There's the bar tack, just need to trim that end away, and there we go. So that's that side of the trouser done. I just need to repeat that for the other side. You might recognise this if you've done lounge pants. So if you've stitched the lounge pants with us, you'll recognise this, and you'll know the next stage is to sew the centre front and the centre back seams. So we'll go and stitch those, and I'll overlock them. So that's done. So the centre front and the centre back seams are done, and here's where the magic happens. If I grab that leg just in the middle there, just give it a good shake, get 2 pockets around the front, and I end up with the 2 legs. Hey presto. So that's how easy it is to make a pair of trousers. Right, okay, so here we go. Now it's time to sew this inseam. So I'm going to match this seam here first. So this crotch seam, centre front and centre back, and I'm going to make them cross over, pin that together. I'm going to put a couple of pins there actually, just so that I keep the curve. I want to make sure I get a perfect cross there. So with a couple of pins there, hopefully we get perfect crisscross in the middle, and then just stitch down the legs like that, and we should get them matching at the bottom. Very much so, like that. So do that with both legs, and then stitch and overlock those seams as well. And while I'm just at the overlocker, I'm going to do a lock around the hem of the trousers. Okay, so here are my funky trousers, looking really good now, and that's what we've got so far. So that's the front and that's the back, and I've just overlocked the hem as well. I'm going to add a waistband on the front, so that's the wrong side, so we need to put good sides together, and that's going to go along there, and it's going to just sit along there. Now this is quite a floppy fabric, so I need to give it some structure, some stability, so I'm going to put some interfacing on that. But because I'm going to put elastic in the back one, I'm actually not going to put any interfacing in that one. I'm going to leave that be. I have some of this stuff. It's comes on a roll, and you press it onto your fabric, and what happens is it's got holes in there, so it sits on the fold and helps give structure to it, and you fold it along that fold. So I'm going to place that, I'm going to fold this over and then place this with the holes on the fold. Tackle this. So the way I'm going to do this, I think, is attach the front waistband to the back waistband, good sides together like that. So make sure the folds are attached like that. And then in the back, I'm going to attach the elastic of one side like that. Match that up there, and then make sure the waistband goes around the waist of the trousers, and then hopefully, if you've worked it out right, the seams match there. And I'm just going to make one seam go one way and one go the other way. Just match. So just be careful when you sew the waistband to your trousers that you don't lose the shape of the pocket. And I'm sticking to my 1 centimetre seam allowance, which on this machine is the edge of the foot. Right, so that's the waistband attached. So what you can do now is, it's just basted in position. What you can do is you can fold your waistband over and stitch that down. You can hand stitch it, you can top stitch it, or you can stitch it in the ditch, and that means your needle on the sewing machine goes right between the two pieces of fabric where you've sewn them, and then on the back you get a row of stitches. Okay, but for ease, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab the 3 layers, so the 2 layers of the waistband and the pair of trousers, and I'm just going to go round and overlock all the way round, and then I'm going to take away the stitches that I've just sewn. Making sure the elastic's well out of the way, I'm just sewing the fabric together. And then that's it, done. And all you need to do now is remove the basting stitch.